So we're going to write the script now that's going to control the damage delivered by this bat. First of all, this cube, let's just rename this to something like weapon cube so that we know exactly what it is. Great, so in assets, let's go to the scripts folder, my script. Okay, we're going to right click, create new C# script, and we will call this one enemy weapon damage. All one word. Okay, so double click to open. So enemy weapon damage. Alright, so first of all we need to serialize a field. Here it is. And this is going to be a game object. We'll call this, let's call it hurt UI. So that's that screen with all the blood on it. Then we need to serialize another field. Okay, this one is going to be an integer. We'll call this weapon damage. Just going to put it as 1 for now by default because obviously we need to test this script to see how much damage is being delivered by each weapon. Then we need a private boolean, so bool. We'll call it active. Oops, if I can spell that correctly. It active equals false. Alright, so just simple boolean to switch things on and off. Alright, we don't need an update. We are going to need to start a little bit later, so I'll leave that one in there. So obviously everything that we're dealing with is a trigger. So obviously what we need is void on trigger enter. Okay, that does that for us, and then we're going to say if other dot game object dot compare tag. Tag that we're comparing is obviously the player. Then if that's the case, we're going to do this. Okay, so we're going to ask if hit active is equal to false, which obviously it is by default, so we're good to go straight away. Then instantly we're going to switch hit active to true. So in other words, we're going to switch it off. It's important that we do that whenever we're using the trigger enter, because obviously that object is intersecting that trigger over multiple frames. So if you don't switch it off immediately, it will basically trigger whatever code you've got in here probably hundreds of times over like a second or 2 seconds. You definitely don't want that, so we want to switch it off in the same frame. Then we're going to say hurt UI dot game object dot set active. So we've used this plenty of times, haven't we? True. Okay, so we just simply switch that on. And then we need to access the save script dot player health. Okay, in order to detract some health, minus equals whatever weapon damage you've decided it should be. Okay, so in this case, every time you get hit, it will take 1 off player health. Okay, now I'm just going to copy all of this, Control and C to copy, Control and V to paste, and we're going to say on trigger exit. So as long as it's the player that we're exiting from, if it active is equal to true, then we simply set it active back to false again. So in other words, it can only register a new hit once that weapon has actually left the player. So if it strikes the player again, it's an entirely new hit. Both of these we can now switch off. Or sorry, not switch off, rather just delete. Okay, so we're good to go on that one. So let's save that. Just check if we have any errors, and I don't believe that we should. Nope, no errors. So on that weapon cube, we're now going to take our enemy weapon damage and just drag that onto the weapon cube. Okay, and it's asking us for a hurt UI game object, which is obviously on the canvas. it's this hurt panel. Let's drag it into there. Okay, and the weapon damage is currently at 1. By the way, if you go to the game tab, you'll see that the hurt panel is currently switched on. Let's just switch that off by default. So we want script to switch that on. Okay, great. So in the next video, I want to do a walkthrough just to make sure that this is all working okay. In fact, before I do that, I want to go to the player health script in order that we can check if this is getting updated. At the moment, it's updating when it starts, and then it's only updating if you press the H key or if display health is equal to true. Okay, so if display health is equal to true, then what we can do is put that on here. Okay, so we're going to say save script dot display health is equal to true. Okay, and that way it will force this to update. Now where was it? Player health. Okay, and then if save script dot display health is equal to true, it instantly switches it back to false and updates the health. So that means we can now get rid of this key code H. We're only using that as a temporary measure. Alright, great. So now it will actually be updated every time an enemy hits us. Okay, so in the next video I'm going to do a test of this, a walkthrough.